Yep.
All right, go ahead,
All
Fred.
right, so our first issue on the agenda, as always, are public comments. Has anybody had any public comments or any contact? Is there anybody? Apparently, there's nobody on the Zoom meeting. No issues there? Okay. So then we have to go through the old business. Look to approve the minutes. I hope you people have had a chance to look at them. Great job again, Martha. Thank you. I had a couple of issues, very small issues. In the second paragraph in the fundraising line item, the last sentence of the second paragraph, it says, I've also sent out venue notes, which I just need a K on the end of that. So-
Yep.
And then the next line says donations collected will go to the upkeep of the four courts if this attempt does not reach its goal. If it's okay with you guys, I'd sort of like to add in as per the original committee's guidelines, just so if anybody reads that, they don't think that we just sort of made it up in that one meeting.
I like
Okay.
that.
Got it.
Okay. And then the next paragraph, talking about the Hartru courts, that's actually spelled HAR-TRU. And I think there's another place in the minutes where we talked about where that same,
Okay.
it's the last sentence in the action items.
Here comes
Okay.
Roy. Here comes Roy. All right. Any more comments on the minutes?
Well, let's wait till Roy kicks in here, see if he has anything.
Oh, is he in?
Yeah.
Hey, Roy.
Sorry, I'm a little late. I forgot my laptop, so I had to set everything up on my phone.
Okay, meeting adjourned, right? Just kidding, Roy.
I second that.
We just had a couple of minor things on the minutes, just a couple of typos, and that's no big deal. Any issues for you on the minutes from last meeting?
No, but I'll be honest with you, I forgot about this meeting till just now. So
Well, that's
I didn't
honest.
review the minutes again, but I don't recall anything.
Okay. Well, then would somebody like to make a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
I will.
Anybody to second?
I will second it.
Okay,
Is that Paul?
yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, all opposed? No, all right, most minutes are accepted. So our next item is our new business and fundraising efforts. I spoke in front of the city council on Monday, a week ago yesterday, and gave them you're allowed 3 minutes. Fortunately, I was the first person to speak. There were a number of angry elderly people there complaining about the budget, and I got away from that. Basically, it's a small prepared speech, and I don't know how it went, but I guess the approvals, what is June 10th? Cheryl?
I want to say June 4th, but maybe June 10th. I can look it up, the date.
Okay. So
June
I've
7th.
noticed that a couple of
June
other places, the 7th, okay, a couple of other people who have asked for money haven't gotten it, so I'm not particularly optimistic, but we'll see what happens. Should we include an attachment for that speech for these minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll send that to you, Martha.
I watched the speech online. Fred did an excellent job, everyone. I asked him to be my speech writer going forward because
And
It
I
was
respectfully
flawless.
instantly declined.
Yeah. It was very good. He got to the point. He created a great argument and was calm and direct. He did a
Fred
good
was
job.
calm. I've never seen that from him before.
Well, Paul, you weren't there to fire me up. That's why.
Fred is very good at speaking. I'm not
Sometimes.
surprised.
Sometime.
But you made a good point. There's a need in the community. The enhancements, Tennis Springs. It was just really good, Fred.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if it piques any interest. I tried to shame both Mr. Salamone and Mayor Nystrom from an article from 2019 in the Bulletin. Please don't include that in the minutes, Martha.
Yeah. You referenced statements that they made.
Well, yeah, all I did was quote them. It wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
And you got letters from all of us that you sent on? Is that what you did with those?
Yes, I included, and I'll also give that to you, Martha, a short 2-page kind of synopsis for the council of what we've been doing, where we're at. And also I wound up getting 12 emails. And thank you all for doing that. And I included that in the packet that I gave them.
Okay, good.
Other fundraising efforts. I contacted WB Mason. First I went up there and you couldn't get in, they were closed. So I got the site manager, got his email, sent him a whole packet, and he was initially interested. I sent him a whole packet. All I got back was, now we're not interested, but if you have an auction or a raffle, we'll be more than happy to give you something. Which is, I figure, maybe a case of toilet paper or something, I don't know. So that didn't go anywhere.
What's the matter?
Have you all had any contact with anybody?
Yeah, I think whoever gave is now on the spreadsheet. Core Plus gave us 1,000.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and I can't remember who else that I contacted, but some people gave. Waiting for others.
Paul, you didn't happen to notice that George Ulrich sent us $100?
I didn't even know George was still alive, to be honest with you.
I'm sure he'd be happy to hear that.
But that is nice. I mean, I've been talking it up to everybody, especially as I start to get into the golf season, talking to everyone that I meet. So hopefully something will become of it.
Good. You can rub elbows down there at the lake with all those high rollers.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, Jason gave us $1,000, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's Jason Bugby of Nutmeg Mechanical.
Well, there's a guy down there who's now the CEO of Foxwoods, name's Jason Guyette, and plays in front of me a few mornings already. So I'm trying to work up a conversation with him.
Please don't let Toomey hit into him. Please.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Yeah.
Any word on the hospital, Aaron?
So I contacted my supervisor to see who would be the best person to go through the chain, because I didn't want it to land on like a secretary's desk and go nowhere. And
Right.
she advised me to send an email to Donna Henley, who is the Southeast Regional Director, and also Genevieve Sinchi. Shies, yes. So who I do not know. I know Donna. And I emailed both of them last week through my work email. So I have to check that on tomorrow,
Okay.
hopefully.
Now, does Bacchus have a foundation?
They
Is
do.
that-
They do.
Is that what you're going through when you went to Donna or Genevieve?
Yeah.
Genevieve's
It was
she's
like
the foundation person.
it was community outreach.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for doing that. I had hoped that the Dime Bank would be forthcoming. I have heard nothing from them, so I was going to give them a call either Wednesday or Thursday to find out if they're still interested.
Now, you don't have to put in a grant for them?
I did.
You did?
I did,
Okay.
I put in a grant request for them, yeah.
Okay. So I guess just kind of pecking along at the list we all took. You know, I've been calling and sending emails and stuff and seeing what happens.
I don't know well, I'm not sure what more we can do at this point. Unless we were to consult with a fundraising organization. Have you done that at all, Cheryl, in past projects?
I have not. No, but.
You have
it's
to
not a
pay
bad
them, don't you?
Oh, I would, oh, yeah.
Not a bad idea to look into it, though.
I wouldn't
You
know where to
know.
begin.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
If we had
Yeah,
tennis courts, we could do tennis matches. You know, how you have to pay to be on a match, but
Wow, that's, I'm not sure that's gonna fly, Martha.
yeah.
Cheryl, you had mentioned a little bit about the grass tennis, the artificial grass tennis courts. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Sure. Well, right before that, so we have 13,763 raised so far.
Oh, that's right, the budget issues.
Yeah,
That's not
I'll
budget.
do
Yeah,
the budget.
that's fine.
And then few other things. I'm looking at my to-do list here on the action items. I put the banner up behind the Pina Field. So that's up for everyone to see and hopefully donate from. And then Norwich Times, they haven't called me to write the May article yet, but I'll follow up. I was gonna write an article and mention the fundraising efforts and the projects that we're working on in the department.
Great.
So I'll follow up to see if they want me to do an article this month, if not next month. So those are those two updates from the department. And then I also got a quote. I had a quote from a company to do a grass surface. Has anyone played on like artificial grass tennis? It's really low cut. I don't really know a ton about it, to be honest, Fred. I just got the quote, but I guess in Newport, when you play in Newport, that's the surface there. Has anyone played on that before?
I have.
What's that like?
Fast, very fast.
It is.
Yeah, I played there too, but it was real grass and it was kind of
Well,
burned out.
yeah, you'd expect real grass to be distinctly fast. Your son, Paul, told me the artificial was pretty fast as well.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, it's a faster surface. There's no question.
Have you played any artificial stuff?
I have not, only the real grass, not
Yeah, me
the
too.
artificial. But
Okay.
If it's low cut, I'm sure it's easy to maintain, obviously, but is it going to be fun for everybody to play on a surface like that?
Well, yeah, that's the question. Because I don't know where that is, Cheryl, I'd be surprised. I mean, that's not what the International Tennis Hall of Fame uses, but there might be some courts somewhere nearby that they've contracted with.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gave me a quote, turf installation, construction, and installation of tennis synthetic turf system. $236,000 to do the 4 courts.
Martha, could I ask you not to put that in the minutes, if that's okay,
Okay.
for now, until we know what's going on with the city council? Just the
Okay.
numbers.
Yeah, just an option. It was a contractor in town and stopped my office and said, hey, I can do artificial grass there.
What's the
Sure.
upkeep of that? What kind of upkeep is there?
Roy would know more about that than anybody, I would think.
Well, artificial turf, I'm not really sure. I'm just curious what the underlayment is. What's underneath that artificial turf? Like, is that just, is it like compacted stone or something? Or, what do they put underneath that? Something's got to hold the integrity of the surface.
He just writes here, construct a suitable aggregate base 6 inches in depth with a synthetic perimeter anchoring system. Base to be graded to perimeter.
Yeah, it sounds like it's probably stone dust or some kind of processed gravel that's compacted to that 6 inches.
Like, do you have to like blow dirt off it, or do you have to
Yes.
vacuum it, or what do you have to do to it?
You gotta,
For our turf, we actually have a grooming device, one or two things. We run a magnet over it to pick up any metal. We get a lot of like jewelry, hairpins, and all kinds of crazy stuff that comes up. I could fill a mug every time we run that across the turf. And then other than
Wow.
that, it's a sweeper basically that
yeah,
sweeps the the pelletized rubber back evenly throughout the surface.
So
But
we'd
I don't
have to
know-
purchase
I don't know
those.
what you got on there. I don't know if it's just carpet.
I wonder if this surface would also require the pelletized rubber,
Yeah, the
the
crumb rubber.
up tires, you know? You get any metal shard from the pelletized tires when you sweep the courts?
No,
know,
we, like I
steel
said, we
belted
get
radials getting
barrettes
ground up, you
and
could have some metal in there.
earrings and all kinds of crazy, like, paper clips and stuff like that when we run the magnet over it.
Yeah,
my greatest concern with that surface, Cheryl, would be, I think we mentioned that very briefly, is people utilizing that for something other than tennis. Kids going in there when they can't run around in a muddy court, a muddy grass field, and use it for soccer practice and that sort of stuff.
Hockey, yeah.
Gum and other things cause significant problems there
Oh,
too.
Lord, didn't even think about that.
I remember when we wouldn't let the kids sit on the artificial turf because there was like a MRSA outbreak and people
Right.
spit and do all kinds of stuff, and it's like, oh, it doesn't sound too hygienic to me.
That's interesting that you would say that, because I know over at Stanton, and I think we discussed this briefly too, is that the fence at Stanton is bowed where the kids sit against it. I don't blame them. I would do the same thing. But if you have a team, they have to sit somewhere, and unfortunately it bows the fence. Now the ball's going underneath it. So kids are going to sit down on that if there's a team involved at some point. So it's still an option. I don't know. Maybe we could go play on it, see what it's like. But again, some of this all depends on where the funding goes.
Can we find out where there's one that we might be able to play on or at least look at and stuff?
Absolutely. I'll square that up with Cheryl.
I mean, his big selling point was it won't crack like asphalt. I know it's got other drawbacks and advantages, but
It would be a cool thing for the community. We've got grass tennis courts. It'd be very unique, but there are other issues too, obviously.
mhm.
I called Hinding Tennis to ask them about the transfer over from red clay to Hartrue, and talking to Tom Hinding very briefly because he was busy. He basically gave me a quote. He said of about $30,000 a court. I kind of thought that was a little high based on the fact that some of the other stuff that, what was it, George? Was it George that you talked to, Martha?
Yeah.
George Strauss?
Yep.
But I'm would think there might be somebody else that could do that. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if Classic Turf does that or not. I would think that that'd be out of their ballpark. Those are the people who we've looked at for the post tension.
So the whole thing, getting that done for 4 courts would be about $120,000.
That's the impression. That was a rough estimate that he gave. So again, I would prefer if we didn't put the numbers in just yet. Just let's, because I would want to see what happens when
Yep.
the city council finally comes up with, hopefully with something, if so or not. So it's still an option. I know that that's probably not Cheryl's first choice. Again, you got to put the lines down. You got to put top dressing on it. The problem that I see with Hartrue is you got to get it. You got to irrigate it. It has to be watered every day. That's an issue.
What exactly is hard true?
It's a green stone dust almost. It's a special
Oh.
kind of stone dust. It plays like clay. Slide
Oh.
like clay. It slides more than clay, but it's almost like a combination between clay and hard court.
So you still have the issues with rain and the courts don't dry and stuff?
But not like clay
Okay,
because they dry much fast. Hard true dries much faster than clay does.
okay.
But the daily, weekly maintenance is definitely gonna be more, right? With
It'll be
something
more than
like
hard
that as-
court. Definitely more than hard court. Yeah.
Well, hard true is, a lot of towns get hard true because they are so maintenance free. I mean, the big issue with hard true is keeping them moist, is watering them.
Right.
And then you just need to sweep the lines and they're done. If you want to look at them, I'm pretty sure Norwich Inn still has two hard true courts back there.
I'm afraid
Uh.
I already called them and their guy said, we haven't had tennis courts in 4 or 5 years.
Oh, that's too bad.
And he gave me the name of the guy named, because I wanted to talk to a guy about maintenance. His name was Tom Reed. And in doing some research, I think Reed was bought out by Hinding Tennis.
Okay,
So that
that's too bad because
that didn't get me anywhere.
I think everyone would like the hard true courts. They're easy to maintain and they're really easy on your legs too.
Yeah, it is. It's like a combination halfway between hard court and clay.
Yeah.
But
And
you
so
gotta
when
have,
you say irrigation, someone has to go out there like with a hose if you don't?
Yeah,
how do you
just,
say?
I don't see any reason why Cheryl couldn't do that every day. It's right across the street. Yeah, thumbs up.
and
Um,
it's not an everyday thing either. If it rains, if you get natural moisture, or even if the humidity is high, those courts will retain some moisture. You can't let them dry out because they'll get very dry. But it's a hose situation. That's what it was at Norwich Inn, I believe. I
Well,
know
yeah,
because I watered it myself a couple times, so it was easy to maintain once you get them in, and they're fun to play on.
Well, I guess it's an outward option, but I know it's not Cheryl's first option.
Yeah.
I mean, because the idea is to get through this so you don't have to do the maintenance anymore.
Exactly.
Is there water actually at the courts or would that have to be moved in?
No, there's,
There's a water source over there at
The
the
water
play
fountain?
courts. Yeah.
There is? Oh, the fountain, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a water source because we watered those courts a lot, Fred.
yeah,
The clay
There
has
is.
to be watered as well.
I didn't know that.
yeah, there's water there. There's a spigot.
Well, it's still an option.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of it depends on money, so. I think, have we covered all the action items, I think? There was one, Cheryl, sending the 503C paperwork in case we had somebody who asked us about it.
Oh, you still need that for me?
Well,
Okay,
I forget, I think it was Martha who asked for it.
okay. No, I know I sent it to you, Fred.
Yeah,
Okay, but I can send that to the whole committee. Sorry.
yeah, I've still got it somewhere.
You did thank you notes, Fred.
I
Did
did,
you handwrite them?
I did.
Okay, and so other people have given since that. Are we writing notes to the people that we were in con?
I figured you people had enough to do, so I've just been taking care of it.
Oh, so each one that comes in, you're thanking. Okay,
Yeah, it's up to date, I think, except for the Core Plus, which
okay,
just came in a couple days ago.
okay. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Fred, are we on any of the websites like Facebook or Twitter or anything? I mean, I don't do any of that stuff, but
There's a shock for me.
is it wise to kind of advertise what we're trying to do on Facebook or some of the other information websites?
I know we're on Facebook through the rec, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And Instagram.
Wow. Fancy.
What
The
about-
bulletin of the day have never done a story on this, have they?
Yeah, the
They
day
did?
did when we first started it.
Okay,
And unfortunately, reporter misquoted me, two out of three quotes.
I mean, the Bulletin could use some articles.
For sure. I can give him a call.
Worth a shot.
Okay,
Matt Graham covers our area. Fred,
okay. Grahm.
correct.
Okay. Any other ideas here? Because I don't see, I mean, we've covered pretty much all the action items so far. Anything else we can think of here?
What if we could get an article placed like on a USTA website? Trying to think of other social media websites where people will be looking for tennis articles. I know the USDA is going to require us to have a certain amount of money before we can even apply for a grant, but maybe they could help
Well,
us on a
That's actually
website.
not true. That's not true. If we can, and correct me on this, Cheryl, but if I believe, Paul, that if we have the all the money to pay for the courts, they'll give us, what was it, 50,000 if we have the 4 courts?
Yes,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have to pay for what we have, but then they'll
Now,
grant out that amount.
And you have to apply for a grant? The actual grant, you have to apply for that, right?
Yeah.
yes.
So we have to have all the money to pay for it first, then they'll give you money? Is that what you just said?
That's the way they work.
Yeah.
They reimburse you.
Pretty much. That's how it works.
Okay.
But we could do that. We could set that up. But we gotta be close. to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I wonder if Connecticut has a tennis association website. I'll call George Ulrich about that.
If not, see if there's a regional one as well. You know, Norwich is pretty well known for tennis, at least in the past it had because of Steve Armstrong. Maybe there's still people around in some of the tennis associations that remember Steve and would be willing to, participate in helping us get 4 new tennis courts.
Okay, good idea.
Do we have any positive thoughts, or are we just, I mean, we have positive thoughts, but realistic thoughts about getting more from the city?
Well, I honestly don't know. Based on some of the other things I've been reading where they have not been too forthcoming. For instance, I think was Norwich Community Development Corp asked for 125,000. The city only gave them 50. So I'm not super optimistic about it, but I don't want to be negative either.
Okay.
Well, they do need to do something with the COVID relief funds they're getting. Maybe it could go into recreation, especially if you use the, it's going to enhance the recreation for children in the city.
I would defer to Cheryl on that.
Yes, Norwich is slated to get about 30 million in rescue funding.
Yeah,
Um,
I wonder if some of
Tennis
that,
courts are dropping the bucket.
the language is just coming out regarding what qualifies. So, yeah, I haven't heard how much recreation qualifies. I have talked to rec directors in other towns, and they're being proactive and asking, putting all their projects together and asking for 5% of that money to go towards anything from open space to fields, athletic surfaces, tennis courts. So I was thinking of doing something similar. The city is looking to hire someone to coordinate spending all this funding and qualify the projects. So I do plan to put in a proposal or a request for many of the needs that we have around the city, including tennis.
That would be an
But-
excellent idea. Excellent idea.
Yeah, I don't know yet, what the parameters of the grants and the dollars are. But
Yeah, is that the same funding? Is that the
It's
same funding that's
infrastructure.
adding athletics to the middle schools and elementary schools too? Is that different?
I just saw something yesterday that Connecticut's trying to get it to go towards schools too. So I
'cause that-
think not finalized. The governors of each state are kind of working it.
Yeah, because I saw where Stringfellow and Camp are kind of collaborating and organizing the, instituting like soccer and cross-country basketball and a few other sports back into the elementary schools where they compete against other schools, which we really
When-
haven't done in like 15 years.
When are they starting that? The summer or fall?
I
spring?
believe it's starting this summer and into this school year. Because they contacted me about that a little while ago. But I just saw something in the paper. I forget what day or which paper, but
That, I have heard about some of that, Roy. That is different rescue money.
okay.
That's, Norwich Board of Ed got 8 million in funding that they need to spend mostly this year and I think going into next year. They also got summer monies. I just applied for, Norwich Board of Ed got money to do summer enrichment camps. And then I just applied for camp to give scholarships to kids for 25,000 from some of this COVID money. This new batch, this 30 million is different from all that I just mentioned. The 30 million is, not, Board of Ed might be able to apply for some of that. But I think what you're referring to, Roy, is current money they already received in Norwich.
Yep.
And more school specific, youth enrichment specific.
Yep. And just out of curiosity, do you have any idea whose discretion this $30 million goes to? Like who gets to decide, or is it the city council? Is it something else? What?
Something on that level from what I'm hearing, Roy. City council, city manager, they're gonna have meetings, they're gonna hire this coordinator. I think you gotta apply for it, like people in Norwich have to apply for it. So yes, I'll let you know as I find out. It's all just coming out right now.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think it's important though that, all that stuff is for kids, which is great, but the tennis courts are serving up to the elderly. And that's something that we're not serving really anywhere else in our recreation, are we? I mean, I guess we might have, I guess the senior center has chair yoga and stuff, but
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's an important point.
Definitely. So I'm hopeful with that funding coming in that we could do something. So I think we keep pushing for what donations we have. Let's wait to see if this money comes out and then if it looks like recreation's in it, then we'll meet, we can come up with ideas, how it will fit the grant and maybe write the grant for it. Or write whatever paperwork. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it.
Speaking of meeting, has the city said anything about when we can go back face to face?
Not exactly. I don't know yet. I think City Hall's opening in June. So I think July 1st is a good target for us in July to start the first meeting in person.
Okay,
And it's comfort level, like the seniors might keep running, senior center might keep doing his online. It depends on the comfort level too of the group. But we will have the option to continue with Zoom if each group wants to.
okay.
But I think July 1st is the first in-person allowed.
All right, so shall we compile a couple of action items again? Obviously, we're going to continue the fundraising efforts.
Yep.
I will call George Ulrich about the USTA website, or because Connecticut has a tennis website. What else, what else am I missing here? You were gonna send the paperwork, the CS3, the C3503,
Yep, I'll do that.
okay,
And you're gonna send me the presentation for the city.
yeah, I'll send both the speech and the 2-page thing I gave to them.
Yep.
I would ask if you guys do get any feedback or anything positive from a potential donor, if you can just send me a quick email, let me know what happens. I was thinking more or less with you, Aaron, if you get anything back from the hospital. And likewise, if I find anything from the Dime Bank, I'll do the same if I get any information.
And you were gonna contact the bulletin, Fred?
Oh, that's right. Anything else?
I'm just looking to see how much we have now. 13, we had 11,000 last month and we have 13,000. So we have like 2,000 more than we did last month.
We're getting there. We got to keep plugging away.
Thanks,
Okay.
Paul. Okay, what's our next meeting is scheduled for? What? June what?
Because this was a special meeting technically.
Right.
Okay.
June 14? The
Yeah.
second Monday,
Yes.
Second Monday, June 14th, is correct. Yep,
14.
Flag Day.
that'll work okay. You know that, Martha.
And that will be on Zoom.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
all right. Someone like to make a motion to adjourn
I do.
in a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Please don't say no. All right, we're good.
All right, thanks.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.